Hello there. I hope you're having a great start to your weekend. I'm having a wonderful start, but I was missing you. I was thinking about you, and I wanted to just connect with you. My name is Deborah Lassiter, and I'm the founder of DCL Ministries, and this is a ministry which highlights random acts of kindness. In light of the devastations and in light of the flooding that has happened this week in Texas, there's so many of you have allowed the compassion in your hearts to just act on it, and you've been giving. You've been donating money. You've been rummaging through your attics and finding things that perhaps you're not using, and you've been sending it to Texas. But I ended up thinking and I ended up praying about this, and there's many of you out there that you desire to help with all your heart, but perhaps you don't have money to give. Perhaps you don't have extra things in your home, or right now you too are struggling. But did you know you could pray? Did you know that you could carve out time to just set some time aside to pray for the people? They've lost their homes. They've lost memories. They've lost pictures and clothes and all the things that we take for granted on a daily basis. Did you know that you could pray for insurance companies' hearts to be moved, to make these people's lives easier as they transition into a new beginning? I know sometimes it's very hard that when things are devastating in our own lives, when we hit that wilderness in our own life, that it's hard to believe that a new beginning can rise from the ashes. But I'm a firm believer, and I am a witness through God that it can. So many of you out there, I know that you want to give, and maybe you don't have it to give, but I suggest you pray. The prayers of the righteous availeth much. And we can always set time aside to pray for the people, to pray for their comfort, to pray for God to connect them with the next steps in their lives so that they can reestablish their life. I wanted to encourage you to do that. Now, I want to continue today on our series of heart posture. I think it's again so important, especially in light of so many events that are happening in the world, people that are in need. And where is our heart posture when it seems like things are going great in our lives? This is a time to give back. This is a time to think of others. And DCL Ministries is truly about that. I've had some difficult times in my own life, and I can never again pass by someone in need and not do something. So I want to continue with our heart posture trek. I want to continue with talking to you about your intentions and your motives. So with that being said, I want to talk about repetition. I want to talk about the beauty of repetition, but I want to talk about the boredom of repetition. And I see in the Bible that the Bible has a lot of cause and effect, a lot of figures of speech, a lot of concluding conjunctions in the discourse of Scripture. We have a lot of conditional phrases. We have a lot of general statements and a lot of specific statements. And today I want to talk about the repetition that we see in the Bible. There's many of you out there, you're in the wilderness of your life. We're in the valley of our life, the low points. Maybe you're going through so many different attacks that are going on, whether it's in the workplace, it could be in your home, it could be against your children, it could be against your livelihood, it could be against yourself. And you're struggling right now. And what happens is you pray, and then God sends a messenger. He sends someone into your life that's going to give you instruction. And in this regard, I always say that God is the source and people are a confirmation. But I look at those people coming into my life as a repetition. It could be a person, it could be a movie, it could be a commercial, it could be an infomercial, it could be a coworker or a family member. But the Lord continues to send this repetition into your life to confirm that what you're feeling in your heart and what He has exposed to you in your prayer life, that you're right on point. I think this is the beauty of repetition. This is when you get down on your knees and you thank God that this messenger came out of the blue, someone that you didn't even know. And they're telling you the things that are been laid on your heart, sometimes for days, sometimes for decades. But then there's the flip side of repetition. There's the flip side that, you know, you're in your life and you've gotten the messengers, you've heard the messages, you've read the scripture, and now you're bored because you really want to move on. How many of you out there that someone comes to you and lays something on you and you look at them and say, I've heard that before. This is the repetition that continues to come. Maybe you're at a point in your life you've heard it before, but you haven't done anything about it. Well, I want to focus on scripture for this. I want to do a controlled scripture for the message today. And we're going to look to Joshua. He is an amazing warrior. He's an amazing leader. He's appointed to lead the Israelites after the passing of Moses, the great prophet, the great servant of God. And Joshua comes in quite appropriate because the Israelites have been wandering in the wilderness. And they are about to come out of that wilderness into the promised land. And they needed a feisty fighter like Joshua. Well, we're going to look at a text today because as they approach Jericho, God gives Joshua some instructions. So we're going to read from Joshua chapter 6, verses 2 through 5. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "See, I have delivered Jericho into your hands, along with its king and its fighting men. March around the city once with all armed men. Do this for 6 days. Have 7 priests carry trumpets of rams' horns in front of the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times with the priests blowing the trumpets. When you hear them sound a long blast on the trumpets, have all the people give a loud shout." I love that. Then the wall of the city, will collapse, and the people will go up, every man straight in. I wanted to look at that text because it clearly says that for Joshua and the people to actually go around the city for 7 days, there's some repetition there, right? There's every day you're to walk around the city. You're just to walk around it once, and then what else do I do, God? Like, is that it? I just walk around. I'm bored. I don't feel like going around this circle so many times. There's many of you out there, you're going around in a circle many times, but the Lord has instructed you to do so. But within this repetition, within going to work every single day, within getting up every day and raising your children, within getting up every day and trying to be the best version of yourself you can be, you're getting bored. You're tired of repeating the same thing over and over and over again. But I find that there's beauty in repetition. There really is. Not just the beauty of confirmation, but also God can show you where your real heart's intention is. Many of you out there, in the midst of repeating the same thing over and over and over again, you find that your heart was never really on board with the job that you actually have been striving for. Perhaps you've taken on a new position, but you never really wanted it. So the idea that you have to go to it every single day, it makes you angry. It exasperates you. You get tired very quickly and you lose patience. How are we to gain character and wisdom, discernment? How are we to gain the fruits of the Spirit if we are not to have some repetition in our lives? Going to work every single day, raising our children every single day, trying to read our Bible and do the spiritual formation every single day. Yes, it can get boring. It can be frustrating. It can be, especially when you want promotion. But I'm a firm believer that through that repetition, we really can see that we need to change our heart posture so that we can endure, so that we can build our character, so that we can have the fruit of the Spirit. We can have self-control. We can have joy and gentleness and patience, some things that we actually don't have. Sometimes we just want to rush to the finish line, but I'm truly a believer it really is the journey. So that's my encouragement for you, that sometimes we have to allow the natural course of life to take its place, that we have to repeat things, that we have to find the joy, and we have to bring back the taste in our palate for the things that seem to be mundane, that seem to be so repetitious that we start to lose our zeal for life. I don't want you to lose your zeal for life. I want you to enjoy it. God made it. God made you. And whatever season that you're in, whether it's a valley or whether it's one that's very prosperous at this time, I want you to know that God is always going to be repeating things. He's going to be telling you things. And don't get into the heart posture of thinking, I know this already. God brings it to you for a reason. So I want you to embrace it enjoy it. And until next week, I'll be praying for you. I'll be praying for the people in Texas. And God bless you. And I'll see you next week.